In the last episode, we designed and built a battery pack by using data from electric cars to transport me 89 kilometers on a single charge. In this episode, we'll build a battery box to mount in the bike frame and install a battery power control circuit for the hub motor. The battery box will be made out of fiberglass. The problem is, I have never used fiberglass before, so should be a good learning experience. I bought this kit hoping it will work with what I'm trying to do. After making a styrofoam cutter, I cut packing styrofoam into pieces and assembled into the desired shape. Knowing that the fiberglass resin would reduce the styrofoam to a glob of goo, I successfully tested some resin on different types of plastics. I wrapped the form and used packing tape to seal all openings. Long story short, I think that the vapors of the resin somehow got through the plastic. The results were less than ideal. My next attempt is to build a form out of remote control airplane wood. I traced the bike opening and cut and assembled another form. I did reinforce the mounting locations with paint stir sticks in order to avoid too much strain on the fiberglass when mounted to the bike. Poster board was glued to the exterior to provide a consistent surface to apply the fiberglass. Now here is where my lack of experience is evident. It turns out that the corners of the form should be more rounded so that the fiberglass has a better chance of laying flat rather than lifting up like I'm experiencing. Flaws aside, the box does take shape and better yet, it does fit in the bike frame, but just barely. Before finishing the box, we need to work on the battery power control circuit. The hub motor has large capacitors as part of its motor controller. If connecting the battery directly to the motor, there will be an electrical arc as a result of the inrush of current to fill the discharged capacitors. This arc can degrade the component's contacts when applying power to the hub motor. To avoid this, a passive circuit will be added to limit the charge current. I found a website that could calculate a current limiting resistor value. I've added the link below in the description. There's a lot of good information here, but let's scroll down to the bottom where the calculator is. The highest voltage for the battery pack will be 58.8 volts. We'll select a charge time of 1 second. And I'm going to estimate here and say that the hub motor capacitor is 2000 microfarads. Click on the Calculate Resistor button and we are provided a resistor value of 100 ohms. To implement the current limiting resistor, let's look at the circuit. A key switch is connected directly to the positive end of the battery through an XT60 connector. When the key switch is activated, it supplies power to the motor through a 100 ohm resistor. The battery pack can supply 30 amps and a discharged capacitor looks like a dead short for a short period of time, so you can see why the pre-charge resistor is needed. The toggle switch supplies power to the coil of the 48 volt relay. Since the maximum voltage of the battery pack is 58.8 volts, I had concerns that this would be too much for the relay coil. After some digging around, I found that the coil can accommodate 110% of its indicated voltage, or 52.8 volts. I measured the coil resistance and found that it's 1200 ohms. Using Ohm's law, 52.8 volts divided by 1200 ohms equals 44 milliamps and is the maximum amount of current that the coil can handle. At 58.8 volts, I'll need to add a resistor to ensure that the current doesn't exceed 44 milliamps. Ohm's law again, 58.8 volts divided by 44 milliamps equals a resistance of 1336 ohms. If we subtract the coil resistance from this result, we need to add a 136 ohm resistor to the relay coil. I did that here by placing two 270 ohm resistors in parallel off the bottom of the coil to ground. The two resistors of the same value equals half of their resistance when connected in parallel. Half of 270 ohms is 135 ohms. When the relay is activated by the second switch, power is connected directly to the motor but in tandem with the pre-charged resistor. Now if we take a closer look, we can see that the pre-charged resistor also feeds the top of the relay coil when the relay is active. The key switch can be turned off, but the hub motor will still receive power through the relay as long as the toggle switch is active. When the toggle switch is deactivated, the e-bike powers down. I built the majority of the circuit on the bench and tested its operation. Holes were drilled in the box to mount the components as well as the bike frame mount points. After a lot of deliberation, the box was painted a lovely shade of black. The components were mounted and the circuit completed. I confirmed the operation again just to make sure all is correct. It took me a while to find a suitable 40 amp relay to supply power to the hub motor, so I've put an affiliate link in the description for you if you're thinking of building this type of circuit. The box was attached to the frame of the bike using 1032 screws and fender washers. To protect the battery pack from bouncing around inside the box, I cut up a foam mat and installed as lining. Now to squeeze the battery pack into the box. This took a little effort as there isn't too much extra space in the opening. Once wedged in, the battery was connected to the battery power control circuit. The moment of truth. Well, no smoke came out, so it looks like we're good. If you find this helpful, give this video a thumbs up. If you'd like to see more of what I do, please subscribe. And if you'd like to know when, click the notification bell. Thanks very much. Before checking for movement, I wanted to confirm the programming of the motor controller. Following the instructions provided by Golden Motor Canada, I loaded the software and adjusted a few of the parameters to match my battery configuration. I set the correct battery voltage for the pack. Configuration for nominal pack voltages goes as high as 48 volts, so that is what I selected. Set the maximum voltage of the pack, as well as the minimum. I decreased the percentage of acceleration from 100% to 50% for a couple of reasons. First was to limit the instant current taken from the battery under 0 to full throttle conditions, hoping to conserve a little battery power. Second, I didn't want to end up on my and break something. That said, once I get used to riding it, you know I'm going to try it. Okay, configuration is complete. Let's see if it moves. Before I go out tormenting parents and scaring babies, I need to build a cover for the exposed battery pack. I salvaged magnets from old computer hard drives and cut them to fit around the perimeter of the box opening. I secured them in place with 15-minute epoxy. I then measured and cut out a piece of sheet metal a little larger than the opening and welded on some tabs to hold the cover in place. I took the cover over to my son, and in a couple of hours, he had it powder coated and ready to go. I believe I'm done. Now to take it for its maiden voyage and see how far it will go. I'll let you know in the next episode.
Woo-hoo!